Hey everyone, I'm Scott and welcome to eTech Facebook Live Fridays. Today our Master Tech Pablo is going to be demonstrating how to open an iPad without damaging a digitizer or display. This is a really important skill set to have if you're replacing any internal parts of an iPad such as a camera, battery, or charging port. Today we're going to need our heating pad, heat gun, our blade, our alcohol dispenser, and our plastic opening picks. So to start off, we want to begin by inspecting the condition of the frame and the screen of the device. If the frame is bent, this can add pressure on the digitizer, which can in turn cause it to crack easily upon removal process. In these cases, we definitely recommend advising the customer that the screen requires a replacement as it's already compromised, and when you're doing the removal process, there's a likelihood that the digitizer can crack. And as you can see right here, Pablo is demonstrating what areas we inspect. We inspect the bottom of the frame, the left side of the frame, and everything looks good. And then moving towards the top, we can see everything is looking great as well. And we also want to make sure to check the back of the iPad. There's no dents, no issues right there. And we can check the front, which has the display, and everything is looking great right there. So now that we've inspected the device and none of these two cases are present, we can continue by continuing the opening process. We can start off by putting the iPad face down on a heating pad at 75 degrees Celsius for about 5 minutes or so. We've actually had our iPad on the heating pad, so we will just continue the opening process. But this allows the adhesive to loosen up and in turn having an easier removal process. Once your iPad's heated up, we're going to start off by taking a flat X-Acto blade dipped in alcohol and our heat gun. So Pablo's going to start by heating up the edge of the digitizer, inserting the X-Acto blade. You want to make sure to not go all the way in, as you could potentially damage the digitizer, scratch the glass, and cause issues, which in turn cost you more costs. He's going to grab his plastic opening pick and insert it in the opening that he has created. While using the heat gun, he will slowly slide across, adding even heat and pressure alongside the frame. As you can see right here, you want to be really careful and not go all the way in, as there's still a chance you can damage something, but taking the plastic opening pick reduces those chances. And while he's doing this, he's able to loosen up the adhesive and carefully open the device. So now that he's opened the right side of the frame, he has a method which he has his fingers in between the digitizer and the frame and having outward pressure while using the pick at the same time with the heating gun. And while he's heating up, he applies that pressure, and you want to make sure not to use too much pressure. And as you have more and more experience, more iPads that you're opening, you'll have a better understanding of what is too much pressure, what is not. But it's best to start off with lighter pressure. And if you're ever having any issues where you feel like the adhesive is becoming a lot more difficult to remove, you feel like you're having to put too much pressure, I would recommend placing the iPad on the heating pad again and then resuming the removal process. And now that he moves to the bottom of the frame, again, his fingers applying outward pressure, heating up, using the plastic opening pick, sliding through. And you want to make sure not to go deep within the frame right here, as there's flex cables near the home button. So now that we're in a position where the iPad can be very easily opened, closed, we have no issues right here. I just want you guys to be aware that now that we have it open, we can point out certain locations of interest where you want to be very safe. You want to use caution near the antennas, which are located right here where Pablo's pointing them out. There's one right there, and then there is one more right here. And you also want to use caution near the home button and the flex cables. The flex cable runs alongside, or that's the home button, the flex cable runs alongside right there. And the location where the flex cable reaches the frame is one of the most common areas where people have issues where they could potentially cut the flex and in turn losing Touch ID, and as a result causing you to have a more expense on your own end. So you want to make sure to be careful on these ends. And now we've successfully opened up an iPad and everything looks good. A few things to point out is you have your LCD screws, which are located where Pablo is currently pointing at. There may be adhesive at times on there, so you can remove it by picking it up with your picks, or that's probably the best option. And then remove the screws, and that is how to open an iPad. Thank you everyone for joining today's live stream. Stay tuned for next week's stream. We are going to perform a torture test on some of our protective cases and screen protectors. Have a great weekend.